like not difficult it was at all, because I came from a very labor-intensive job, right? 12 hours straight, you would be moving heavy equipment.
There's a lot of shit that you don't expect when you start a business, but the essence of leadership and how to be a productive leader in a way that's going to get everyone to do their best, the best both for yourself, for the company, and really honestly themselves as well, I think is often overlooked.
As a new business owner, you don't know who to trust, you don't know what you don't know.
Dude, I want to start off with a dad joke. Fun fact, did you know I struggle with addiction, and I was once addicted to the hokey pokey, but I turned myself around.
Oh my gosh, that's so terrible.
What you got?
How do you follow Will Smith in the snow?
I don't know.
You follow the Fresh Prince.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mission Control Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Stearns. This episode brought to you by Sun Digital Agency and the team at Roofer. If you need instant roof measurements, clean and pristine proposals, feel free to hit the team up at Roofer. They're great customer experience, highly recommend. Got Arron Schwarz with us today. What's up, bro?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on.
Dude, thanks for bringing the heat on that dad joke. All right, follow the Fresh Prince. That's fucking good, man. I'm super excited to have you on. So we were at SRC Summit last week, and I had the opportunity to engage with Arron on social media, and we actually scheduled a podcast prior to this SRC Summit. And I was walking into the main room where the speakers were, and he popped out and said, "What's up, bro?" It's Arron. I'm like, holy shit, dude. It's so interesting when you get to meet people that you engage with online for the first time. I think I was talking to Diego Dante about this, right? It's like, we linked up, and I felt like I'd known you for years. And I mean, we've had minimal interaction on social media, but I see you all the time, right? I'm familiar with your brand, so to speak. So it's like, it's always kind of astonishing to me. So, dude, I was glad to get to kick it and get to know you in person, and I'm super excited to dive deeper today and get to know you even more.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
What the fuck happened in Texas? I left, and my wife was salty. Shout out to my wife. She's like, "You're going to Dallas. It's gonna be warm. It's freaking 20 degrees here." And I'm like, "Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry. I gotta do it. It's for work." And she once came to an event with me, and she's like, "Well, this sucks." I'm like, "I know, but for you, I can see why it would suck, right? I'm talking about marketing roofing. They're talking about roofing, and you couldn't care less about either one of them, right?" So I get there, and I think when I left Buffalo, it was 27 degrees, or 20 degrees. It was 20 degrees when I left Buffalo, I think, and it was 27 when I got to Denton. And it's like, oh my God, we're going to have this historic... Yeah, and by the way, we're going to have a historic ice storm. So we were stuck in the hotel for like 4 days. I mean, it felt like a lifetime. It was great company, but at the same time, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Does this happen often in the Dallas-Fort Worth area?
Man, okay, so this is a weird phenomenon that we got to see. It's called thunder snow. Or thunder sleet. So that's what was happening. We had all this crazy ice coming down, but we also had a storm going on right above it, and there was lightning and thunder going on. So really weird phenomenon that I've never seen before, weather phenomenon that I've never seen before. Kind of indicative of a pretty healthy storm season coming up too. We've had the past 3 years been hellacious winters, something that we haven't had in 30 years or more. And every year we've had storms all over DFW since then. So I think it's a good indicator of where the market's gonna go this spring.
That won't be terrible for you, right?
No, not at all.
No, yeah. Well, get to serve so many more. It'll be great. Yeah. So I mean, an unprecedented sounds like weather event. Mother Nature hates me. It's fine. I was telling folks at the conference I've been to California once, and I went alone. This was maybe 6 years ago. I went to Santa Monica. I just heard it was a nice place. I'm like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do an experience. I'm gonna go alone, travel alone. I'm gonna stay in a hostel and just hang out, right? And it's gonna be fantastic. Don't you know it was 55 and raining every single day? And I'm like, bruh. I'm like, is it always like? They're like, it's never like this. This never happens.
The Pacific's always cold too. Always cold. Even in August, you can't get in that water. It's so freezing.
Yeah. So if y'all want shit weather, just hit me up. Pay me to come visit for a day, and I'll be sure to bring the shit weather with me. That's fine. All right, so let's backtrack a little bit, man. So you run a roofing company now, Reighn Roofing, right? Reighn Construction. Yeah, sorry. Reighn Roofing has a nice ring to it, though. I will say that.
That's my website, reignroofers.com.
Okay. We'll talk about that after the show. Anyway, what was your life like before roofing?
Oh, before roofing, I was in the oil field. I worked on drilling rigs, and I did that for 7 years. Right after I got out of the Marine Corps. I was a roughneck. I worked on the rig. Started out in West Texas, went up to North Dakota, came down to Colorado from there, and then Oklahoma, Arkansas, and then back again in West Texas. And I just kept doing that. Stayed on a crew. That's all you pretty much have to do is stay on a crew and keep getting promoted. And but that was until COVID hit and oil tanked below. I think it got down to like negative $47 a barrel or something like that. Something stupid, right?
Right.
So we just disassembled this multi-million-dollar drilling rig and just left it in a West Texas pasture and peaced out, dude. And we were all left without a job, all of us. And most of us had been doing it for 7 years or more, decade almost. And dude, I just someone had mentioned to me that roofing might be something worth looking into. So I got on YouTube and started looking up, how-to videos, stuff like that. Found a few, and I was like, okay, this is possible. All I gotta do is ask some friends and family if I can get on their roofs. Yeah. So that's what I did. It took me about 2 weeks to kind of figure out where I was going to land, and then I finally landed on a roof and got it bought. So it was only idle for about 2 weeks.
What did it feel like when you finally got the roof bought?
Well, it was good. It was for one of my shithead friends, so
yeah. It always is, isn't it?
Yeah, so he was sitting there talking shit to me the whole time until the adjuster came down and was like, yeah, the roof's bought. And I was like, yeah, I told you. Right? But it was definitely an accomplishment. I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. This is easy. I was used to, again, a multi-million-dollar, a day operation, huge operations going down to roofing, 35 to 40 square houses. So it was easy to manage for me. It was easy to visualize and easy to manage, especially after I saw the first one go on. Yeah,
and I'm like putting myself in your shoes there. I can imagine, I feel like there'd be a lot going on because, okay, I got this roof bought. Now I start thinking of the potential. Now I start thinking of going from, whether you're a salary or an hourly working on a rig, it's like, okay, now you're going to start crunching numbers. And oh shit, I'm about to make this much money. And if I could do this X amount of times a week or a month, that puts me on track for this. And it's like, man, this process, it actually wasn't too hard, right? I did a little bit of research and now I'm here. This is great. Maybe these are some things that I can clean up along the way and get better at. But then just the confidence of knowing that, okay, I can actually do this, that had to be exhilarating.
Yeah, that and then what you just said, just how not difficult it was at all, because I came from a very labor-intensive job, right? 12 hours straight, you would be moving heavy equipment. It's all iron. Everything is iron out there. So I came from that straight to just having to talk to make money, essentially. So it was that kind of threw me through, for a loop a little bit. But you just adapt to your situation and run with it.
Yeah, sounds like a welcomed transition. When did you establish the company?
My company, I established it in June of 2021, and then it sat idle for a little while because I was still kind of working for, or not kind of, I still was working for some other companies, and then right before Christmas of 2021, we did our first roof. I did my roof, and then all of 2022 is our year.
So I'm sure, as welcomed of the transition as it was, and you've been successful, I'm sure it hasn't been all rainbows and butterflies. So what have been some of the challenges as an early business owner that you faced in the roofing industry?
Man, well, one of the first things that I encountered, and I'm sure almost everyone encounters, is the people that want to make money off of you, right? They see your success, they see you out there doing stuff, and then my phone will start blowing up, And then, as a new business owner, you don't know who to trust, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
The one thing you can really rely on is yourself, and if you have someone that you trust, still, you never know what you're going to get with who they recommend. So,
sure.
there's many failures that come along with starting it out, especially with finding the right distributor, because you're putting all of your production faith into them, right? Mm-hmm. If that doesn't sit easy with you, then that's not going to work out for you very well. And then, people are just trying to rip you off with pricing. That they think that you don't know how to price jobs, so they'll come out and way overbid it. Another thing you have to really look out for. So, as a new business owner, you don't know who to trust. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: after your first year, did you shop your relationship with your supplier with other suppliers, or did you really just commit to that supplier?
No, I was committed to one supplier for a little while up until May of last year, and then I just got tired of it. Like I said, I was putting all of my faith, all of my production faith into them, and I just don't like operating like that. I like to know what exactly is going to happen, because that's what I'm telling the homeowner. I'm setting those expectations up, right? Mm. And if I'm not going to put my word in someone else's with someone else. So
sure.
That's why I got away from big distributors on every job, and then started buying bulk and then taking that out to the job as needed.
That's interesting. I can see why that would be of benefit to you.
Absolutely.
I mean, you mentioned landmines, so I feel like it's a time to transition to talk about what you were doing before the rigs.
Okay.
Thank you for serving our country. You were in the Marine Corps. Talk about that. What was that like?
Oh, where to begin? I'm actually.
Let's start at the beginning. What compelled you to join the Marine Corps?
Well, I grew up on a farm, a 400-acre farm, in a very small town, just not very far from where me and you just met last week, mm-hmm. Probably 15 minutes south of where we were. And so grew up with a lot of cousins. One of my aunt and uncles have 7 boys, and and I was the youngest one of all of them. So kind of had to be tough growing up around there.
Yeah.
And then I just never really left this town until I went to the Marine Corps. So that's kind of one of my motivating factors. I was like, I need to get out of here and go see something. And then I was also 18 and cocky and thought I could do anything, so I decided I would join the infantry and go get shot at, because why not? Mm-hmm. I went to boot camp in 2009, and it was a complete culture shock in every sense of the word. It's just completely different. They strip you completely down and then build you back up how they want you. And they do it in the most violent and vicious way possible, because that's what they need. That's what you're supposed to be. That's what you're there for. So that's the best way I can describe it. Just put your head down, get through it, don't be last. And then, because after boot camp it gets easier, or at least the treatment gets a little easier.
Sure.
And then, so after that, I went to the School of Infantry, and then that's where you've got your MOS breakdown. So you can be a regular rifleman, an 0311. You can be a machine gunner, an 0331, which is what I was. You can be a mortarman, an 0341, dropping mortars in the tube. And then you can be an 0351. Well, they don't have 51s anymore, but back then they had 51s. Those are demolition assaultmen. And you can be a 52, 0352. That's like an anti-tank missileman. So you go through 4 weeks of that first, just learning how to be a basic rifleman, and then the test comes where they pick the weapons guys and they separate the weapons guys from the riflemen. And yeah, I passed the test to be a machine gunner. They give you a little piece of paper and ask you what you want to be, and I put 0331 all 3 times, and had to go run with a machine gun for like 7-8 miles, and then passed that test, and I got the job. got put in got put in the class, right?
So you said you went into cocky, right? Haven't really traveled, so I can't imagine that it was the easiest transition to make into letting somebody break you down to build you up.
Like I said, it's also very vicious and terrifying. So you just don't. You just don't speak up as much, you know. And I was always athletic. I always played sports. I was always a little faster, a little stronger than my peers, and that helped me out a lot. And then, so through the first phase, there's 3 phases in boot camp. Through the first phase, you're pretty much, that's all they're doing is breaking you down the entire time. And then in the second phase, you go up and you learn how to shoot. You learn how to do work out in the field and all that kind of stuff. And that's when, in the second phase, you also start playing games between the platoons. Like your drill instructors will wake you up at night and then send you on a mission to go steal something from another platoon, right? And they do the same thing. They come and steal stuff from us. So what happened is there's a guide in boot camp, the guy that is the leader of the platoon, the head recruit of the platoon, right? And he gets the rack all by himself, sleeps, doesn't have a guy on top of him or anything like that. And he carries the guide on. It's the flag with the stick. So he was asleep, and the guide goes right on the guide's rack. So I don't know how, but it got stolen. Our guide on got stolen. It's like the most like horrific thing that could happen to a recruit platoon in boot camp, right? Your guide on just got stolen. Your identity of your platoon just got stolen. So they made us feel like total shit for it. And they just, they fucked us up all day long for it. And then like that night, one of the drill instructors came in with it. He went and got it back from the other platoon, came in with it, and he just set it against the wall. And that guide that we had didn't go get it. I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? Go get the shit, right? So he never went and got it, and I'm sitting there just watching, and I jumped out of my rack and went and got it and broke it down, rolled it up, and put it in my rack with me. And he came over there and was like, give it back. And I was like, get the fuck away from me, man. You left it, you lost it in the first place, get away from me. And then the drill instructor came over there, and I was like, oh man, I'm done. This is it. And he's like, did you just take that guide on from over there? And I was like, yes, sir, this recruit did. You can't say I, you have to say this recruit, right? So I said, yes, sir, this recruit did. And there's also a little bandolier that you wear, the guide wears. So he just threw that up in my face, and he said, change racks real quick. And that was how I got to be the guide of that platoon.
Oh, shit. I've never been in the service in any capacity. My only exposure was like through friends or media, right? Like movies. How accurately, like, have you seen Full Metal Jacket? I'm sure you have, right?
Yeah.
Like how accurate? Like I think when you say break you down, I think of that movie where he's just berating, the folks.
I've got to meet him a couple times before he passed.
Really?
Oh, really cool guy. Yeah, he's a Marine, man. He was always around Camp Pendleton. And when we were in training in the very beginning, that's where we were, was Camp Pendleton. And then I went on and got stationed in 29 Palms, California. But I would say Full Metal Jacket's boot camp is very slowed down. Very, very, very slowed down, because they only have one drill instructor there. Whereas in reality, you've got like 3 to 4 to 5 sometimes.
Jesus.
on you at one time, and they see everything. They see you can't get away with anything, right, from these guys. And you'll have one, if there's 3 of them, you'll have one giving out commands, and the other 2 going around like sharks and just causing chaos around you, trying to confuse you. But the brutality of it, it's right on there. Except they don't allow rounds. Like you don't get rounds inside your squad base. So the whole dude in the bathroom, no, doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah. There's a couple. The Happy Birthday Dear Jesus part, and the part where he finds like a donut. He's like, "Let me guess, the fairy fucking godmother." Dude, in high school I watched it quite a few times. I was like, this dude is fucking hysterical. Glad I'm not in that situation because I don't think I could handle it. So yeah,
that's something that we've always, all of us have said too, is how like getting out of boot camp. We've always said like it's so funny looking back on the shit that they say to you because it is fucking hilarious. And I think they're trying to make you laugh, but you have to keep your bearing.
Right.
All the time. You can't fucking laugh, and if you do laugh, you get fucked up. So I really, that's just they have to play with it just to stay sane themselves.
Sure. What attributes or characteristics did you develop out of going through the experience in the military that have served you well in your life? As
the biggest thing that I picked up from it was how far I could be pushed, and then how much further I could keep going after I thought I was done. Because they always, everything that you do, you're being pushed as hard as you can, and it's not. I mean, you can tell if someone's not putting out, right? You can tell if someone's trying to slack, and you can tell if someone's feeling sorry for themselves. And if you were doing that, you're getting pushed along, the whole time. Someone's coming up to push you along. Someone's not, you're not going to get left behind. Right. And that was when I started feeling sorry for myself. Or you'd be on a 9 to 12 mile hike, and you've got your machine gun across your back, and and you got your main pack on and your vest, and you're weighing like 300 pounds walking through the desert. It sucks. It sucks really bad.
Yeah.
Just knowing that, taking it one step at a time, and it's not gonna kill you. You're gonna keep going, and you're gonna keep living.
I'll tell you what, I'm not making it 7 or 9 miles with an extra 100 pounds on me today.
Man, I've had my feet bleed, like it's just squirting out of my boot.
That's fucked up, dude.
All kinds of stuff. You just have to keep going, man. It's creating that mental callus, right? And
sure.
You keep doing it over and over and over again, then nothing can get in your way or stop you.
No shit. So, out of the different, skill sets and mental toughness, fortitude that came up, your experience in the military, what is an experience that you can directly relate to, like helping you, like in your business, right? You've been in a situation and maybe you think of something in the past that you experienced, and it's like, okay, maybe it's just not this bad, or it's perspective. What does that look like?
Man, I think I've had very early on when I got to the fleet, I was named a team leader, and when you pick up a team in a machine gun section, it's the team leader, the gunner, and the A gunner. So it's just a 3-man team, but you're responsible for everything of theirs, everything, all of their gear, all of your gear, everything that they have going on their whole lives. You're responsible for everything. So I developed team leading and teamwork skills very, very early on, and that just progressed as I went on through the military. And then after I got out, it progressed even more when I got to the oil field, because that's essentially what a rig is a team. It's a crew, is what they call it, but it's the same thing. So, and it's also a rank structure too. So, yeah, man, team building and knowing how to work with a team, and being intuitive enough to pick up on your feed on your other your teammates, like what they got going on. You always need to be in tune with your guys, and that's something that I've been able to directly transfer out here is building teams. I did it for the first company I ever worked for. I took a team up to St. Louis, and we brand new market, all brand new guys, and we produced 112,000 a week. So, and I thought that was pretty good for all brand new guys in a brand new market. And then came back, and I've done it here also with my new company. Here we've decided that I want to give veterans a chance to do what I'm doing, the same thing that I'm doing. I want to give them a place to come where they can learn how to do this, create their own company so they get the tax benefits that we get, and then if they decide they want to go do their own thing, by all means, go do your own thing. That's what we want you to do. But if not, stay here and stay a part of this veteran organization.
That's amazing, and we'll get to that in one moment. It is so important to understand how to lead a team, and I think that a lot of people, when they start a business, they just take it for granted that it's like, okay, I got to build this company, and I know sales really well, and we'll figure out the rest. And I think there's a lot of shit that you don't expect when you start a business, but the essence of leadership and how to be a productive leader in a way that's going to get everyone to do their best, the best both for yourself, for the company, and really honestly themselves as well, I think is often overlooked. So I can see how that would be such a crucial piece of having a successful business early on. And I'm glad you pulled that experience away, dude. That's amazing. You took my next question, damn it. I was going to ask you.
So to expand on that just a little bit, the best thing that you can ever do if you're going to be leading teams or leading anybody is just be the example. You can't ever ask anybody to do something that you're not willing to do, and you're not willing to do, and give it all that you've got. Because it's just like that saying, your kids watch everything that you do. They're always watching you, right? Same thing with your team. They're always watching you, always, in every aspect too, not just work, in every aspect. So if you're the example in every aspect, they're going to pick up on all that and they're going to follow suit.
That's a really good point. So you recruit your crews that you work with and your team members are exclusively veterans, yes?
Yes.
Will that always be the case?
Oh, as of right now, yes. I've been asked this question a few times now, and I can't change my mind off of it. This is what I built this company for, and because I wanted a place for we were having a suicide problem in my battalion that I deployed with, right? All the guys have been out, and I was just sitting there trying to think of a solution, trying to think of something to bring guys back together, so they've got a group, a team, a mission to do again together. And that's why I started this. I was one of my friends that I served with to come down here and have this opportunity also. And then it just turned into, me advertising that to attracting, local veterans around here, and guys that I have known previously that went and joined separate services also. They work here too.
That's fucking amazing. I have obviously not experienced this firsthand, but I know people that have served, and we talked about this a little bit at the summit, and what happens when they come home, the issues that they're left dealing with. I mean, how adequate is the care for veterans, right? Whether it's when they get out of serving, right? Like, what does that look like?
Oh, got you. Yeah, so I can equate this directly to insurance companies. They're just like the insurance company. They're not going to be proactive in coming out to help you, right? And that's what we were talking about. I think any unit coming back from a combat area or forward area, the VA should be there evaluating everybody and going through their after actions and seeing what everyone actually went through, and then applying benefits as needed, as seen fit. Whereas now the system is, just get out and figure it out. You might have to file a package, make sure you get everything in your medical record first before you get out. I'm like, that makes, it's not efficient at all. Because how many guys are going to get out, not do what they're, not do any of that, and then fall flat on their face? 99% of them do. They get out and have no financial support, no insurance, nothing. The only job skills they have are leading teams, yelling at people, and shooting guns. Right?
Yeah, it's fucked up, right? Because if I'm looking at it, I think just the transition from what the environment sounds like while you're enrolled and while you're active. If you take out all the traumatic situations, right, out of the equation for a minute, and just look at the transition from having that structure, that regimented lifestyle, into adapting to coming back into what is civilian life, I think that would be a tough transition for anybody to make. And now if you start piling on all the shit that you guys have experienced while serving, like, I can't fucking imagine.
And that's why going to the oil field was so good for me, because it was a structured environment. There are a bunch of hard asses out there. They don't tolerate weakness. If you are weak, they'll fire you right there on the spot. So it was a pain. It was just like stepping out of one world and right into the next. With going from the Marines to that. And I was very thankful. My uncle was the one that got me into it. He was the superintendent there. Got me into it, and then I just kind of made my own name after that. Couldn't write on my uncle's name for that long. Yeah,
well, I'm glad that you had that experience in that transition, because it sounds like there's some people that don't have that, and much to their dismay. So the suicide thing, that topic in general is fucking tough, dude. Like, especially within service members, and even outside of it. You've got so many people where they don't reach out, they're struggling. You've lost a lot of people, it sounds like, that you've known and whatnot. I know I have too. And it fucking sucks, man. It really does. If anyone watching this is struggling with anything, feel free to reach out.
Always reach out.
I know my father, my stepfather, one of my best friends, all suicide, and it's like, I guess, and try to be kind, and this is something that I try to remind myself of daily, is like, you go through life and somebody's being an asshole to you, right? And it's like knee-jerk, like, that dude's a dick. You have no idea what they're going through in that moment. Like, don't make assumptions. And that's a struggle for me, because, I'm just like everyone else. It could be like, I could be having a bad day too, but it's like, just try to have empathy.
Exactly. And, just, we judge what we see in ourselves, so try to think of it that way.
It's tough, right? Sometimes.
It is.
Like, some whirling that shit at you.
Like, oh, that's right here.
Well, it's like, you're juggling 7 things, and then that guy cuts you off, and it's like, you son of a bitch. And then it's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, or you order that pizza, and like, why does this have fucking onions on it? I didn't want onions. I didn't tell you to put onions on it. Or I'll give you a funny example. I was at a restaurant, and I ordered a steak sandwich the other day, and I was like, "There's not mayonnaise on this, right?" And he's like, "No." I was like, "Okay, good. Just give me a side of steak sauce." And the shit comes out with mayonnaise, and I was like, "Bruh." I was like, I wanted one thing and one thing. He's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, he's like, I'll make you another one. And you could tell, like, the empathy was there on his side, which is like a scarce commodity these days in the service world. I feel like a lot of times if somebody fucks something up in a restaurant, they're kind of like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, leave.
Not doing it again.
Yeah, exactly. This dude, you could tell he was kind of like mortified because we just had, and I felt bad for him. So it's a work in progress. You try to have empathy. Empathy is a good thing. Compassion, right? Acting on that empathy, I think is good, and that's something I've got a lot of opportunity to grow in that regard. And I don't think I'm alone.
It's taken me a very, very long time, because before you ever go to a forward area or to a combat zone, like you are completely dehumanizing the enemy the entire time. Completely, that everyone is doing it from the top down, so you lose a lot of those empathetic skills that you might have had before that were your values or morals that you had. You just become straight savage.
Well, I mean, I guess that makes a lot of sense, because if you're actively trying to empathize with somebody that you're shooting at, I can imagine that would be pretty challenging to carry out your duties, right? I never thought of it that way, but that makes a ton of sense.
It's a very big thing that a lot of combat vets struggle with. I mean, you have to, right?
So, I mean, how do you successfully become assimilated back into like more of a civilian lifestyle, right?
Oh, it took being laid off from the oil field and starting this, getting in, into this industry for me, because like I said, the oil field was 2 weeks on. I was working 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and while I was there, I was either working nights or days, and I was working 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So strict schedule, and then you've got a rank structure. You got floor hand, motor man, derrick hand, driller, tool pusher. So you've got a strict rank structure there also. So like I said, same environment, same type of work, same type of urgency. People still get killed out there. It's a very dangerous job. So you always got to be on your toes. I wasn't able to, like I said, I wasn't able to transfer to really transition until I got laid off there and started having to think outside of the box. What am I going to do next? Because I didn't want to go back to the oil field. I was tired of being gone. At that point in time, I'd been gone for 10 years.
Jeez. So yeah, I mean, it sounds literally like a perfect transitional piece, but maybe it's not for everybody, or maybe everyone's not afforded that opportunity.
Yeah.
What resources are available to vets?
Well, you do have the VA, so I mean, there are some guys that will get out and immediately submit their claims with the VA, or go straight to them and get whatever kind of help they need. But there's also a very big stigma, and I know in the infantry. I don't know about the rest of the anything outside of the infantry, but I know there's a huge stigma with seeking help, or like even if you're hurt, going to sick call or anything like that. There's like, oh, you're a bitch, and then you start getting further down on the list. So just so that's what a lot of guys live with, is that stigma that I don't need to go, I don't need to do anything like that, I don't need to get help. So that's one thing I love about Texas is they offer a lot of the same things that the VA offers. So you're double dipping. They've got the Hazelwood Act. So if you've used all of your VA for college, right, your GI Bill, the Hazelwood Act comes in and pays for the rest of it, or will pay for just almost the same amount. They've got veteran housing, it's just the same way the VA does. So there's all kinds of resources here in Texas, and it's the Texas Veterans Commission is who I'm talking about. And then here recently, it's been a very big thing. I don't think it's just kind of a money grab situation, but they're still helping people. There's a lot of companies out there now that are helping veterans get up to 100% rating on their disability, right? And then they get a portion of that money, just a one-time payment, they get a portion of it. But they're helping the veteran out immensely, especially if they're getting them to 100%. They're not having to pay taxes on their houses. They're getting their VA loans, so they're getting insurance for the rest of their life for them and their kids. So that's a very good resource to use.
Do they give guidance on like career path, like post deployment and when coming back in?
When I was in, they had two things that they were really gearing towards us. It was called Troops to Truckers and Troops to Roughnecks. So kind of like what I did. And you would get like a month off, and you would go try and train on what this job was, and then you got out and you had a guaranteed job after getting out. But right before I got out, they did away with all of those kind of programs. And so what And then what every guy has to do, every male and female Marine has to do, is you have to go through steps and taps before you get out. So you go through a week of learning how to write a resume, you know, kind of, it's BS really. And you kind of just go through the motions of it, and then, hey, boom, you're ready to be a civilian. I know how to write a resume, right?
Damn, dude. So, what's one piece of advice in hindsight with your experience that you would give to somebody coming back into civilian life?
As soon as they got out, I would say keep comms open with all of your boys, all of your guys that you deployed with. Do not stop talking to them ever, because everyone's going to go their separate ways. Everyone's going to go do their own thing. That's just how life goes, and you forget about each other. And that's what we did. And I don't know if we forgot about each other. We just forgot to link up and keep talking to each other. So do that first. Always maintain comms, and then get hooked up with the VA, because there's a lot of people that didn't go to combat areas that are still had some crazy things happen to them while they were in, right? And you never know. And being trained for something like that can also be very debilitating for you. So just always go be proactive and get yourself checked out.
I think that's really good advice. Is there? Do you have any questions for me?
No, I was just gonna say it's a very, very, very high speed and a very high speed and violent environment, right? And then civilians are not like that. They're
right.
not like at all, or intense, or right now. So that's a really big thing that you gotta have to learn how to balance too.
I can't imagine trying to make that transition, if I'm being honest. I really can't. I think I'm usually pretty good at putting myself in other people's shoes, but that one escapes me. Seriously, so I'm glad that you figured it out, and obviously you brought a ton of knowledge here today, and your story is amazing, dude. I'm grateful for everything that you've done and the things that you're doing now.
Thank you.
I think it's very inspiring to a lot of people. What's one thing that you want to leave the audience with?
Like I said earlier, just if you're leading teams, if you want to lead teams, set the example, be the example in every aspect of your life, and the team will follow. The team will always follow. They will always fall in line. There are no bad teams, only bad leaders, right? So just set the example.
Fucking lead by examples, guys. It's not that hard. Just do it. And prove it.
Right.
Arron, thank you so much, man.
I got this at a comedy club. I got this at a Marlon Wayne's show.
I was going to ask you the significance of it. I like it.
One of his opening acts came out, and God, it was so funny. I can't remember his name, but they're all out of LA. And these were his shirts, and I had to grab one.
Fucking prove it. Is that a moon for an O, or is that an emoji?
Yeah, like rolling your eyes.
Roll your eyes won't prove it. Don't roll your eyes, though. Actually prove it, and lead by example if you're in leadership. I like that advice. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, Aaron. I appreciate it. I appreciate the audience for tuning in. And we'll be back soon.